welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood-Austin. Welcome back.
I'm excited to do this show with you.
I am too.
Okay, tell me more. How's the search for Savannah's mother going?
Dude, I don't want to get into that because I have a train of thought that I want to get onto.
Except you do want to get into that because every morning you come out just to see the first story on the news every morning.
I just think it's weird. If you don't know, where have you been? But today's show, news anchor and correspondent Savannah Guthrie's mother, 84-year-old mother, was kidnapped, apparently, from her Arizona home in the middle of the night. And none of it makes sense and nothing adds up.
Right.
And even including the investigation, I saw one comment on a social media post that said, is this their first investigation? Like, yeah. What is going on? I don't understand what's happening. Today they released, which is day, 11?
Yeah.
They released photos from the Ring camera of the intruder. Day 11? I've watched 48 Hours. I know we're in trouble.
The first 48 is the most important time,
Right.
they say. And is it just me, or does it look like the person who's in the ski mask
It wasn't even you. Don't lie. It was me. Go ahead.
wearing mascara?
Mascara.
Mascara.
No, as soon as I saw the picture, I thought that's a woman. Just from the build. And then when I saw the other pictures that were more zoomed in, I think it's a woman. But okay, it's not my case to solve. Though
Well,
I have
and other middle-aged housewives are going to solve this case.
Whoa, middle-aged professional.
That's true. Yes, you're not a housewife, but middle-aged ladies who are into true crime on the internet
Boy, that coffee's good.
are going to solve this case, just like the documentary
I gotta fix my underpants. Sorry.
Don't F with Cats.
Okay, let's not get into that. That's depressing. So, moving on.
Okay, you want to get
I
right off it.
I want to piggyback on last week's show.
Okay.
Because a little bit about we kind of touched on like mindset last
Right.
week. We were like,
Yes.
hey, what if you saw some things in life as just what they are, like entertainment,
Right.
or fun, and not something to control your mood, right? So we talked a little bit about that. Well, I want to talk about it again in a little bit different way.
Okay, this is exciting.
So tune in or tune out, whatever you want to do. Okay. A couple weeks ago, another realtor said to me, well, I'm not surprised that this house isn't under contract yet. One of our listings. I'm not surprised this house isn't under contract yet. Consumer confidence is at an all-time low, and with interest rates the way they are, and with and all of a sudden, a few days later, I found myself being very down about my business, and I'm never down about my business, ever. And it took me till today to realize it was that conversation that made me start feeling down.
Okay.
Because you know what? Nothing in my world says consumer confidence in the housing market is at an all-time low. Nothing. Not a thing, except that person. And I don't know where they heard that, or you know what I mean? But sometimes it does help to be a little delusional, I think. We were talking about something earlier, and I'll just say we were talking about our daughter-in-law, who is at the very end of a pregnancy with her 5th baby.
Yes.
Right? And I mean, very end. Like
Tippy end.
We're
like
so,
the midwives were there today.
Yeah, and then they went home. She is, I think today, 12 days past her original due date, you know. It's 2 weeks, give or take, either side of the date. But anyway.
42 weeks.
But what we were taught, almost, yeah, she'll be 42 weeks on Thursday, I think.
Wow.
Anyway, what we were talking about, though, is like her mindset through this pregnancy has been a little delusional. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. I mean it in the same way that I'm a little delusional about the market.
Right.
Like, and to give a backstory, so they have 2 older boys, and then they had a baby girl who passed away when she was 6 months old, and then a baby boy who passed away when he was 8 months old, and now this baby. And so in order to cope through this pregnancy, they've had to be a little delusional to the positive, right? They're really leaning into their faith and the people around them who also lean into their faith and that kind of thing. And you said something that I think is great that we can all use. I hope that helps them through this.
Right.
And I do think if I'm going to convince myself of anything, right? If I'm going to brainwash
yourself.
myself anyway, it might as well be to the positive. It might as well be to the outcome that I am hoping to have.
Absolutely.
It might as well be to something hopeful. Right?
There's zero benefit to stressful thoughts. Zero. Let me say that again. Stressful thoughts cause health consequences. If you are anxious, that can either save you from an animal that's about to attack you in the woods.
Sure, yeah. There's our stress response is there for a reason.
Or put undue stress on your heart and make you sick. People have worried themselves to death, literally.
Yes.
So there's no scientific benefit to worry.
Okay. I mean, we do have a stress response for a reason to keep us safe.
But that's different than worry.
Yeah.
There's no scientific benefit, none, to worry. Now, you could have a stress response. You could have short-term anxiety based on the
everything,
the things in the world that you are observing, even subconsciously. Like if there is a large mountain lion on Badger Mountain, if you don't see it, you may somehow see it. Do you know what I mean? Our bodies are attuned to things like that, and they cause stress responses.
Oh, yeah, like when I think somebody might be mad at me.
Or when you think somebody's watching you. Somebody could be watching you, and you feel creepy about it. That is a stress response that's there to keep you alive.
Sure.
But worry only causes you to get worse physically. Worry is bad for you. Someone who's afraid to get cancer is more likely to get cancer. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies can program, our minds can program our bodies.
I'm in trouble.
Well, that's the thing. So now that you know scientifically,
once you've had, let's go down that train, that little trail for a minute. Once you've had cancer, it's hard not to worry about cancer. Can confirm.
Absolutely.
You know, I've had 2 types of cancer. And you do kind of worry, about it. And so you have to decide what you're going to do with that.
Right.
So I've decided to channel it into this year. My goal is to be the strongest I've ever been in my whole life.
Right.
That's just my goal. I'm building strength so that, okay, whatever happens, I'm going to be strong and be able to come through it.
And you realize that you have a stress response about cancer because you've survived cancer.
Right.
But you're not sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get cancer. Oh my God, I'm going to get cancer. Oh my God, I'm going to get cancer. Because then you're going to get cancer.
Right.
What you think about, you bring about, is something people have been saying for thousands of years because it's true.
Right.
If you believe something,
you can research
if you believe something, you can do something.
Yeah.
Just like if you believe something bad bad is likely to happen.
Right.
So there's no scientific benefit to worry, so don't worry. If you don't worry, maybe something bad could happen.
Right.
But if you do worry, Something bad's more likely to happen.
Now, I want to say, because, I'm an advocate for all my menopausal ladies, right?
Yes.
All the menopausal ladies. I will say there is absolutely science to what you're saying. There's also, you've got to make sure that you're doing everything you can to help your brain and your body to be able to not worry. The reason I bring this up is because as a woman, as we age, as estrogen drops, we have a harder time making dopamine and serotonin and the hormones that make us feel happy and safe and secure and calm. And that's why there's a stereotype of, the frail, cold, worrisome little old lady.
Right.
Well, a lot of that's hormones. She's cold because her estrogen also regulates temperature.
Right.
Hot flashes, cold flashes, right? So sometimes you have to supplement, or you know what I mean? Like make sure that you're doing all that and your mindset. Sometimes there's a physical reason is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, and what I'm saying is there often is a physical reason.
Yeah.
But you can make that physical reason worse by worrying.
Right.
You can psych yourself out just as well as you can psych yourself up.
Yes, and the point that I am trying to make is that it is harder as a postmenopausal woman to shift your mindset to a positive, to psych yourself up, as you say. It's harder because you don't have the hormones that help you do that.
Sure. But there are physical tricks you can use to create happiness. Smiling changes your heart rate.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It is wild. So why not smile? Why not think about happy thoughts? When I'm sick, it's hard for me to be positive. So I talk to myself when I'm sick, and I tell myself jokes when I'm sick. I know that sounds crazy, but when I'm alone and under the weather, I tell myself stupid jokes, and I sing songs, and I do that stuff to try to make myself feel better, and often it works.
Laughter is good medicine, right? It's an ancient saying. I don't know what word to use there. Who said it first, though?
I don't know.
Wasn't it like one of those philosophers that first said it, actually?
Like Confucius said laughter is the best medicine? Or
name another. We sound real dumb right now. Never mind. I, at least, sound real dumb.
It could have been Jesus. Jesus said all kinds of cool, fun things.
No, I think it was, I don't know. One of those guys. Why are you not saying philosophers' names right now? I'm begging you to say their names.
But what era philosopher?
Who cares? Any of them. Just say a name.
Like Socrates?
Sure. Yes, something like that. Thank you for helping me. Another sign of postmenopause, in case you didn't know, is you can't think of words that you know for damn sure you know.
It could have been Hippocrates.
Another one I for sure know. Can't think of it.
The Hippocratic Oath, Do
you know when? So if your mom, I saw a TikTok the other day where they're like, my mom trying to tell a story, and it was this lady who and she keeps, that.
You did this today to me.
I do it every day. It's because it is one of the signs of menopause. You can't. It's like. You know the freaking word. You know that you know it.
It was my favorite story that you've ever told, actually.
You can't think of it. What was it?
I saw a TikTok, and it was this guy who does voices.
No, I could. It's not that I couldn't think of that. I just didn't know. I didn't watch it long enough or pay close enough attention to it. That's
and he got a business card, and it said something on it. And I said impressionist.
I'm about to pull the plug here.
Impersonator.
You better move on. David's trying to fight right here live on the show.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
I'm relating the story that you are telling to real life happened an hour ago.
Anyway, back to my point.
Yes.
It really does matter what you listen to.
Sure.
What you watch, what you read, what you think about, and I want to encourage you to Listen to people you wouldn't normally listen to. Read books you wouldn't normally read.
Sure.
Have conversations with someone you know for sure thinks very differently than you think. Because that's how we keep our brain open, right?
Yes.
And an example of that is this book that I'm reading that I shared on my social media that I'm trying to read more physical books this year, right?
It's right over there, by the way.
It is. Fly into the Wind.
Yeah.
I would not in a million years have picked this book, but it was assigned in a class that I'm in. So I'll have to read it.
And you're loving it.
I'm really liking it. There's some aspects of it that I don't connect to.
Sure.
But for the most part, the general story of it is so incredible and inspiring. And if I had just looked at one piece of it and rejected it because of that one piece that doesn't really connect with me, then I wouldn't have read it. And so it reminded me again to be more open to ideas and thoughts and, all that stuff. So
yeah. I think that's great.
That's what I have to say. You got to be careful. Protect your brain. Consumer confidence is at an all-time low. I should have said, says who?
Right.
In fact, I'm just now remembering years and years ago in a sales training, the trainer said, you got to get in the habit of asking yourself, who says?
I like that.
We've never had anybody hit that number. That nobody hits that number. Nobody makes that kind of money. Nobody sells a house for that. I've had that happen when I was brand new in real estate.
And you said, watch me.
I said, who said, why not? Why not? Which is like, who says? Who says we can't do that? What if it is possible?
And you do say things like, watch me. You say stuff like that. Nobody's going to buy that house. You can't sell that house for that. Oh, okay. Watch me.
Yeah. Well, and some of that came from one of my early mentors in real estate, Patty Thompson. Mm-hmm. I remember talking to her one day, and I was thinking about going out door knocking. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what door knocking is, it's one of the most terrifying things you'll ever do. Like if you're a person who has stage fright, it's like that, but times 20. Because you got to knock on all the doors.
Right.
So you go door to door in a neighborhood and you knock on the door, and maybe you're there to just share who you are and what you do and give them a business card or a market analysis of their home that you prepared beforehand. Or maybe you're there to share about a listing that you have in the neighborhood that you want to share with them, or whatever the case. Door knocking involves a lot of different ideas, but the concept is stranger on the other side. So I was talking to Patty and I said, do you think that door knocking has value? Because I think that, I'm thinking about door knocking in the neighborhood where I have this listing and just making sure everybody knows about it, right? They already like the neighborhood. They already live there. Maybe they know somebody who would also like to live there.
Right.
Right. So that's the concept that I come from. And she said, well, let me tell you a story. So she tells me this story about when she was a new agent at Century 21, I think it was, way back in the day. And she would go out and do all these things that nobody else was doing, including door knocking, right? Mm-hmm. And she told me about this time that she went out and door knocked and got a listing or something like that. And she said, but every time I came back to the office and people said, how did it go? I would say to them, oh, it doesn't work.
Because she didn't want anybody stealing her opportunity.
Oh, it doesn't work. She just didn't want anybody telling her, that doesn't work.
Right.
So she just told them,
people,
it doesn't work.
People love to say nay.
And then she told me all of the results that she had from door knocking. Right. She said that ended up being one of the cornerstones of her business in the end. And so I just think that, using be careful who you tell your ideas to, surround yourself with dream keepers, not dream killers.
Right.
And, you look for the people who get excited when you walk in the room. Look for the person whose eyes light up when you walk in the room. And, if your circle of people aren't encouraging you and digging for more out of you, when you throw an idea, I have this crazy idea. If the people around you aren't saying, wow, I've never heard of that. Like, how'd you come to that? What else is in there? Almost like do you remember the grab bags at the store? You go in and like they're $5 grab bags. You don't know what you're getting.
I don't know what that is. Never heard of that.
You never did that when you were a kid?
No. Never heard of it.
Oh.
So so let me understand what you're saying. You walk into a store.
You go into like a little variety store, or a little small town drugstore, or like it was always at this little beach, the beach town that we went to every year. Every August we'd go to El Waco, Washington for a week.
Okay.
And there was a little, little store.
Five and dime.
Yeah, little store.
Working part-time at the Five and Dime.
Little store near the place where we stayed. And they had, little pieces of driftwood with seagull sculptures on them that you could buy, or you could get a soda or an ice cream. And they had grab bags. And they were, $1
I've
or
heard
$5.
the term grab bag.
Yeah.
It's actually from retail where you could get kind of it's like a white elephant game, except you're paying for it in commerce. It's a white elephant in commerce, essentially.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't remember now why I was using the term grab bag. Oh, you think of your idea as a grab bag, or today we'd call it maybe unboxing. There's a common terminology. Okay. You're going to unbox your idea. And if your friends don't get excited about it and start digging with you for what else might be in here and helping you to let's flesh this out. Let's think about this. Let's get new friends.
Well, yeah, you need a support system that is like-minded and going the same way you're going.
Yeah.
I don't want to surround myself with a bunch of people who are ready to get out of the business at any minute. And 1 foot out the door. That's not who I want to hang out with.
I had somebody, it's been a few months now, say to me, I got to tell you, if making videos is the way this is going, I'm glad I'm retiring soon.
Well, and you know what? It's nice to be friends with someone like that, but it's not smart to have strategic planning sessions with that person.
Right. Well, you could, I believe in old school and new school. I made a post recently about, so the video is actually, what is wrong with me today?
Menopause.
Yeah. So actually, the video is B-roll of me filming content for my social media related to real estate, right?
So someone had to film you filming it. It's B-roll of you filming stuff.
It's B-roll from filming content.
I got you. Okay, I'm with you now. I was picturing the concept of you with your phone up and somebody's following you around while you're doing it.
That happens too, but...
That's what I pictured when you described
it. Doesn't matter. Anyway, It's B-roll of content, right? And then over the top, I said, when someone tells you to go to hell, but you're a 55-year-old realtor who has to make videos for social media. Because it's hell. Get it?
I didn't get it, but now I do.
Yeah, it would have been smoother if I could have said the whole thing, but it's fine.
Right.
We had to have a pause to explain everything. B-roll. Anyway, point being, it matters who you hang out with.
It does. And it matters what your mindset is. Oh. It matters how you look at things. And it matters how you receive information.
Right. And in the spirit of that, David, how is the market?
Well, actually, the market's super, super, super good. Interest rates are down. The stock market closed over 50,000 on Friday and closed even higher on Monday of this week. So the stock market is at all-time highs right now today. Mm-hmm. Now, new consumer data has come out to talk about the Christmas shopping season. flat. People expected it to be up. It did not go up or down. It was flat. No market gains in the Christmas shopping season. But, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And people bought early this year. So November numbers were actually higher for retail than December numbers. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it's because people shopped early because consumer confidence was way up. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can find data to support any bias that you have.
Well, and you can tell me that the economy was in the toilet 2 years ago, but Taylor Swift's concert sold the most expensive tickets of all time and made the most money of any music thing ever.
Right.
During what everyone was saying was the worst
economic
economy
time.
ever.
Yeah.
I had a meeting this morning with a young family who are thinking about buying their first house. And they've been renting for years and years and years and years because when's the right time to buy? And I actually said to them, the right time to buy is when you have a need. That's the only thing you need to be concerned with. What's happening in market trends is immaterial to your life.
Right.
If you have a need to buy, now's the right time. If you don't, well, there are some things to consider. Interest rates are better than they've been in the last 2 years, but they're not better than they've been in the last 10. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There are things to consider unless you have a need.
Right.
If you have a need, the question is, can I achieve the goal that my need is pushing me toward? Yes or no? That's it. Market trends don't matter if you have a need. If I get a call tomorrow and somebody says, David, great news. We're going to give you $2 million if you come to Omaha. Well, you know what? I have no plans to go to Omaha, but for $2 million, tomorrow could be the day. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's a good analogy.
So if there's a need, that's when you buy.
Yeah.
I got another call today about a refinance, and it was a realtor who's thinking about refinancing, and her partner is also thinking about refinancing her loan. One of the loans is ripe to refinance. The other one's not. So I asked what the goals were, and one of them needs to refinance right away. The other one needs to wait a little bit just because the rate for her loan is the same as the rate she has presently. That doesn't make sense. But the other loan is a VA loan, and the market's a full point better than it was when she took out her loan. So there you go. So the market is going well. People are making housing decisions.
They are.
And people are still refinancing and buying homes. So
yeah, business is happening. I mean, we're really lucky, whatever word you want to use there, blessed, whatever you use. We are. Whatever it is, we are, because we've got business. We got a couple closings this week. We've got a full board over here of upcoming business. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had that much on my board in my 10 years in real estate at one time. And I feel really, really lucky. And it's wild because it runs the gamut of pricing from the, low 300s to over 1.5 million. Like it just runs this whole, like there's not one particular, sector of the market that, is really booming or whatever. So in the midst of sometimes nothing makes sense. Somebody is selling houses. Why not me?
Yes.
Somebody is right. Somebody's
there's
doing
a
business.
lender
Why
in
not
this
me?
town who did $130 million of production last year.
And that's a lot.
Don't tell me the business is not out there.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? The business is out there. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hear someone complain and say, oh, well, that person only has that business because they have XYZ builder relationship.
Anybody who has...
They have that business because they formed that business relationship.
Anybody who's got business because they worked for it, even somebody, I've heard this, there's some multi-generational realtors, lenders, builders, whatever, in our area that we know, right? And I've heard people say oh, well, that realtor, for example, they're only successful because their parent was a realtor and they handed them the business. Okay, well, they still had to work it after it was handed over.
Yeah.
Trust me that you can give a kid something and they can destroy it instead of build it. Trust me.
Sure.
They still have to do the work. So anybody who's got success, they put some work in. Why not, as we started this show, get curious about it and find out more about what they're doing?
Yes.
Have some humility and a conversation. Can I take you to coffee? It was my habit for my first 2 years solid in real estate. Whenever I closed a transaction, I would ask the realtor to meet for coffee and kind of debrief and
that's smart.
Debrief the transaction, but also ask them, like, why real estate? What made you get started in this? Why do you stay? What do you love? And what has been some of your biggest lessons you've learned? And what are some things that are important for me to know as a new realtor, you know? And I think those staying hungry, staying creative, staying, you know, and those things will bring success. And if you're in a space that doesn't feel creative, change your space.
Right.
You're not stuck.
We've done a whole show on that, and I think it's called You're Not Stuck.
I talk about this stuff so much because it is how I have survived my life.
Okay.
Checking in on my mindset every day, reminding myself I'm not stuck every day is the only way I've survived.
Okay.
You know, and the only success that I have is because I, you know, have been open to collaborating with other people, and other people inspire me and make me look inside myself to see what's there.
Yeah.
And I had an appointment this week that was freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing. So it was supposed to be a pre-listing appointment. So when you call me and you say, hey, I'm thinking about selling my home.
Right.
I am probably going to set up an appointment with you to come to the house, take a look at it, and sit down with you and talk about our process, talk about your goals, and see if, you know,
if they meet.
If we want to move forward together or not. So that's what this appointment was. Went on this appointment, and you were there, and it wasn't too far into the, you know, when I come, I bring my laptop because I've got presentations on my laptop because it flips around to where it's just the screen. Very cool. And touch screen, you know, I'm fancy. And then, but I also bring like paper stuff, and I bring a folder for them that's got our process and whatever. I'm ready for anything, including I bring a listing agreement. But you never know which way it's going to go, right? Or how it's going to turn. And that's something that's exciting about this business to me, is that it is kind of different every time. But it didn't take very long until I closed everything up and I said, okay, let me just set this aside.
Right.
And put everything down. And I leaned forward, and we were sitting on a sectional couch. I leaned forward and I looked at the seller and I said, what's going on here? Like, let's talk a little bit more about, you know, some backstory.
Right.
And as she started to unfold the bigger picture, the number of things in my life that were horrible, hard, disastrous, painful, emotional things that happened to me. But because of those things, I could look her in the eye and say, I've been there. I've done that. Here's what I did. I don't know if that'll help you. But I mean, it was like there were so many connection points in her story.
Sure.
That I left there thinking, that's why I went through that. I went through that for lots of reasons, but for sure for this moment with this young woman, so that she, who was feeling buried under some pretty heavy stuff, to feel like someone threw her a lifeline.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And that was a really pivotal moment, I think, for me to kind of feel like, okay, I think, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because my brain tells me a lot. You're stupid. You're a disaster. You don't know what you're doing. Like, I really struggle with all that kind of stuff, which is why I do talk about mindset so much, why I do talk about the people you surround yourself is so important. Why I do talk about the things that you look at, the stuff that you read, the things you listen to, the people you listen to, your environment. All of that is so important because I struggle with that stuff. And so it was so helpful to be in that moment and be able to very clearly, without a doubt, connect. Because not everybody goes through, it was such a specific thing.
Right.
That I'm certain there are very few people that could have connected in the way that I was able to connect.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And the only reason I knew you'd be an asset in that meeting was because I knew your story going into that meeting. And I knew what the goal was for the client. So that's why I for sure wanted you to be in that meeting, because you gave great perspective to everyone in the room. And now we have not just a right now client, we have a client for life. And that's important.
Yeah.
Not listing the house today helps get the client closer to her goal.
And that's the thing. It's not always about that. And I do want to go on and say that I didn't walk away with a listing agreement, and we're not going to be listing her house because it's not financially feasible for her right now. She learned a lot in that appointment too, just about the business side of things. It's not cheap to sell a house.
No.
A lot of people don't know that. It costs you money to get away from a house.
Right.
To sell a house, there are costs involved. And so she didn't know that. We were able to educate her.
Mm-hmm.
So it I was able to use a lot of what I feel like are my, kind of very deep core internal abilities and talents, if you will, of, I love to learn, but I love to teach. And I have all my facts and figures, but I also very heavy on the empathy. And it was like everything, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I'm not explaining it well, but it was like every way that my brain works that I often struggle with and think is crazy and my brain doesn't work right? In that appointment, I was like, oh my God, the way my brain works and interprets things and does all of this was exactly perfect for this moment. And that was great.
And that's how I feel about life all the time. Isn't that interesting? I feel that way all the time.
What?
For me, that's not a special feeling. That's a regular feeling. I never feel bad or out of the loop or like there's something wrong with me. I always feel like the situation I'm in is the right place for me at that moment.
What's it like to be God's favorite? No, and to be fair, this is a lot of, there's a very well-known trauma test that you can take, and there's these questions, and I score very, very high on the trauma test, and you score very, 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 very low on the trauma test.
And the questions are so outlandish to me that they made me laugh.
And they're just my life. So,
right? Though I'll never forget the one question that kind of made me laugh out loud. Do you ever feel unsafe at home?
Did you, as a child, ever feel unsafe with the adults in your home?
And to me, that sounded crazy because your home is where you are safe. That's where you're safe, right? That's not everybody's experience. That's just my experience. Yeah. I think my kids would say that's their experience too. I don't know, but I think they would. Where do you go when you don't feel well? Home. You know what I mean?
And what if you can't?
Well, that's sad, and you need to marry me because I'll make you feel better.
It's true. That is true. But that is a lot of the reason why we see the world the way that we see it. You don't have to really work at and focus on your mindset. It just is for you. And I really do have to work at it because I have spent and will spend the rest of my life building new neural pathways in my brain to overcome the significant childhood trauma.
And I'm here for it with you.
Thank you.
And I love the things that we are seeing and learning about each other as we go. And I would love to keep talking about this, but we're 40 minutes into this show, so we're shutting her down. Is there anything else you want to add here in the last 1 minute of the program?
I wish that anyone who can relate to my story, I wish for you that you have or can find someone in your life like David is for me, because it's been very helpful and healing, and you do create that safe place for me.
Well, and when I hear about the stuff that you went through as a younger person and as an adult, I see new things, and it makes me a little softer. So I like that too.
Yeah.
Even though if I knew you when you were little, you'd be much happier now than you are.
You think? Well, ultimately, life is good. Look for it.
For Londa, Joanne Sherwood Austin, the prettiest girl in the world, my name's David Austin. We'll see you again next week.